Hey, welcome to another episode of Electrical Theology. I'm your host, Charles, and this is Esoteric Life Coaching. Appreciate you showing up. This is Monday, and on Mondays we do contacting with the other realms. Now, we can contact people in this realm, the earth realm. We can contact people on the ancestral realm and spiritual realm. Now, today, and probably going forward, is that when I say spiritual realm, it's going to mean all the other realms as well. I'm sort of categorizing all the galactic, the universals, the dimensionals, all these guys all in the spiritual. It just makes it easier to say, but just know that when I say spiritual, that it's going to include all those realms above in the higher frequencies. And if you remember from last Monday and Tuesday, let me reduce me here. We went over the elevator, the realms. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch last Monday and Tuesday, and you'll see that we talked about the universal elevator or the realms elevator. I give it different names. But it's basically helping us adapt our own biological, mechanical, and chemical and all that good stuff, energy, to be able to stay in touch and have communications with the higher realms. So your body's being adapted through this practice, through this information I'm giving you, and that's why I'm mainly focusing on the ancestral realm. So by focusing on the ancestral realm and above, and again, I've done so much stuff here as far as on here on Earth, as far as life coaching, counseling, different therapies, yeah, and teaching people about their core values, having them reestablish what that is for them, having them take control over their own life, take responsibility for their own thoughts, actions, and emotions. And then in the process, opening their heart through this process, because somewhere we've closed it off, right? Or we were told to close it off, right? And again, we're not here to judge this. We're just here to acknowledge that if your heart's closed off, then it's about opening it up. So a lot of times we can go to the ancestors, we can go to the spirituals, and then they can then help us and give us information or share information with us. And again, it's not they're not telling us what to do. They're just sharing information, just like a friend would share information with you. If you told them something going on with you, then they may share a story with you, right? And so these divines, a lot of them have a lot of stories. And through my readings, as I tap into their stories, and yes, they can be far advanced, they can give me epics in my head, and there's an essence to that epic. There's always an essence. There's an essence to what you're going through in your life. We can sort of sum it up in one word, right? We can say, when you wake up from a dream, we can interpret the dream by what emotion. There's only one main emotion that was happening when you woke up from that dream. Were you scared? Right? Were you hesitant? Were you flying? Right? What did flying feel like? Was it scary or was it freeing? Right? There's going to be one essence. And so when these ancestors present us with information, and through me, through these stories or these actual wars, they will then sort of tell me what they gained from it. And that's going to be relevant to what it is I'm asking, or what that client in front of me is asking, right? So they're just not going to tell stories to tell stories. If they do, if they want to, like any person here on earth, if they start going on a far tangent, it's not relevant to your question or questing of ions, then I'm going to interrupt them and say, hey, is there a point to this story? Now, I'm going to be patient, right, and respectful, right? And sometimes we don't necessarily understand because they don't all use King's English. They don't use the way we structure, just as the Spanish restructure their noun and verbs differently than King's English does. And I'm sure other languages do. I'm not a language expert. I can translate communications from the other side, but that's about it. My kids are good at learning different languages. I'm not so much myself because I have the ability to translate and interpret information from the other side. So the idea here is that we're just going to get information, right? And how is it pertinent to our lives here on this planet? And like I said before, I've dealt a lot with people here on this planet. So for me, it's more challenging right now in my life to help people or help the other side, and then help the other side's message get here to Earth people. Right? People are going to do what people do, right? And I'm just here to share a message to give light to where there's darkness. And so as you can see on the screen here, this is just an esoteric show that shares basically divine knowledge for the purpose of connecting, communicating, and interpreting cosmic information. Now, information you see is hyphenated because it's formatted ions, the way that those energies, entities, beings, whatever you want to call them, have structured their lives, their thought processes. That's what I'm able to take and then translate or transform, or as a mediumship, I can then translate that energy, right? Which then is going to help you remember who you are at the core, at your spiritual core, before you came into this shell, before your light jumped into this flesh suit, this spaceship, this vessel, right? So we go back to this little ship here. The whole overall energy here is to remember, right? To remember. I think it was Neil Donald Washington, his book, The Conversation with God, was sort of, is where I think I first heard that term, which I liked it because it went in alignment with how I broke words down or dismantled them or rearranged them, all that good stuff. But I add the ship part because, again, it's relationship, how we relate to these ions, these other ships, right? When we relate to these ships, right, then we can have a member. We remember who we are. We're part of the galactic membership again, right? And this will tie into a lot of the extra work I do that it will be extended versions of these videos later on when I get everything set up. Is that if you want the really good stuff, the deep stuff that is in alignment with you, then that's going to be part of a membership program. But for me, it all ties in the same. It's just remembering that we are a ship. We relate to each other's ship, and therefore I am a mediumship. This is my mediumship, right? This is this little alien. Here's a depiction of me or you or whoever. It's just to wherever we came from. And so what I'm doing now and what my sort of mission is to fill in the blanks, right? Because we're missing ions, mission. And so you have to give yourself permission or per your own mission and fill in the blank with that essence we're talking about, that extracted essence, right? So when I contact these beings, they have a essence message, right? A very essential message. And when I present that to the world, then those who are listening will feel that that message is for them. And that's probably true. I can't be true or false really on anything because I don't know who exactly I'm talking to here on Earth. And I'd have to tap into a whole bunch of ships to get all those thoughts. And again, as a child, I had so many thoughts coming in. I don't like all those thoughts at one time, right? That's why I built soul mechanics and electrical theology, is to build these filters to keep all these voices out, if you will, or all these transmissions. I know when you say you hear all these voices, that throws some eyes up in the olden days, but here, and this is just I'm receiving transmissions. It would be the same if I had 15 radios on different stations all around me. Is that hocus pocus? No, it's not. It's just a whole bunch of transmission, and my brain is just wired to hear all those transmissions. So I have to build these systems, and that's why I present this work to you as well, to help you understand these systems, right? So that's enough. Let's just get on with some reading. And like I said, we're here to take responsibility for those thoughts, actions, and emotion, and we're going to do this with an undefended heart. And just a quick reminder, right? We need to remember, today is the communication with the divines, and part of the message that I'm giving you right now is from them. They want you to know that it's about open up to them, and they have a broader perspective for you, because you can't solve the same problem that created the problem. That's you, so you have to go beyond you, and they're here to help you and go beyond you and be in a safe environment, if you will. And again, safe and unsafe is sort of a relative term out there. It's just so you can get a singular transmission to you that has pertinent information or relative information to what you're going through, right? Your information is not right or wrong. They don't want you to take it as right or wrong, or benevolent, or evil, or anything else, right? It's just information. It's formed ions, right? That's in alignment with what you're asking, because you're questioning ions, so they're going to form ions from their own experiences that had similar experiences to what you're going through. And then they're going to transmit it, right? In this medium, they're going to put it through me, the YouTube medium. or social media medium. Right? Hopefully this is making sense. All right, so Tuesdays I'm going to explain that we're going to practice a little more with how to do this mediumship. Today is just more about reading, and I'm just giving you their overall information they want me to give you today. Wednesday is Esoteric class. We'll learn more and more about that. And then Thursday is the Secret Grid, which is intertwined with the tarot reading. And then with all these classes put together, it helps us manifest. It helps us bring the ions down and be able to transform those ions as we receive them into people, places, and things. All right, so let's just get on sort of with the reading. We'll start with I'm going to start with the ancestral realm. And what do I mean by that? So we're Earth realm, the ancestral realm comes next, and then we're going to call it the spiritual realm. But again, the spiritual realm has multiple dimensions in it, but again, for generic purposes, because right now it's sort of irrelevant where we're getting the information from who it is specifically, what planet, what ship, whatever. All right, right now it's just about the message. I don't need to know everything about the mail carrier. Right? I can find out their name, who they are, if they have kids and all, but they're just the mail carrier. Right? They are delivering information. Might be junk mail or whatever. They're delivering information. But here it's relevant. The messages I get are going to be relevant to the people who are opening their hearts today and are looking for the next step. And that's sort of where they're going with this. Is the next step. It is about forward movement. Right? We've had some in the ancestral realm. And again, ancestors, in one sense, are our relatives, our friends who have passed on. Right? Who unzipped from this suit and are in the energy realm. And some have reincarnated or reiterated, and some are still in that realm acquiring more information. Right? They went back to their home planet. They're gathering information. Right? And then they're going to go back out on the mission. Right? They are missionaries that come from their planet and then go to another planet and share a galactic message. So there's forward movement. Now, before this forward movement that you're beginning to have in your life toward opening up and opening your heart, right, and doing your life's mission, right, is being able to get beyond the nightmares, get beyond the overthinking. Now, the overthinking is coming because we've been in Mercury in retrograde, and that's been more intense in the last month. And we're coming out of that today. I believe it's October 3rd. So we're coming out of Mercury in retrograde, but what we're starting to get into is Mars shadow. So the Mars planet and their transmissions are coming online. Right? A lot of people want to look at this as conjunct and 45-degree angles in astrology and all that. I don't. When I'm looking at a planet going to retrograde or another planet coming forward or another retrograde, whatever these terms, is that planet is coming around, so their transmissions are going to be a lot clearer than, say, another planet that's rotating or evolving around Earth, right? It just as a space capsule floating in space, because of the way we transmit and go around the planet, then we have dead spots, so we can't communicate with the astronauts for a few hours until we come back around, right? Now it's clear transmission. So all these planets and how they revolve, for me, is who I'm able to communicate more clearly. It's hard as hell to communicate with someone that's on the dark side, if you will, of the rotation. I can talk to them, but it takes extreme amount of energy, right, to break through their telemetry, if you will. But to get to the point, because Mars is going out, we've been communicating with Mars, and now we're going to start our Mercury, right? We've been talking with Mercury, and now they've been in retrograde, so they're going to come back out. So we can talk to them a little bit more, but their pull is really heavy on us. You know, it's to get us to help communicate, because communication is very difficult when Mercury's in retrograde. So anyway, Mars is going to be coming into retrograde. We're into our shadow. So we're able to then communicate with them right now, but then that power of Mars is going to be heavy on us. All right? So we've been experiencing things for the last year or so that's been very mental. Mars is very mental. Pluto is very mental. Mars, all these. Mercury is very. In mythology, these are all warriors in one sense. But when we're moving forward, right? Because we've been we've been trying to figure out and make choices, right? Where are we going forward with these choices, right? we want to make choices, but we don't know where we want to go with those choices. There's no clear path, right? And so the path that we're taking, if we're opening our hearts, is that it's going to be in pretty much whatever it is you manifest, or whatever you think of, but the thinking has to start with the heart. The thinking brings in the details, but the heart, it's a craving, it's a yearning, it's a desire. Remember, we're in the present state trying to go to a desired state. And this desired state is this higher frequency. We want to share our lives with the world. We want to be part of something bigger than what we are. Right? And so going forward from the overthinking, right, is that we are beginning to see a little clarity and a little movement, right? A lot of the battles we've been fighting, we're starting to win some of those, right? And again, all the battles, it may seem like they're all external, but they're not. It's an internal battle helping you through this other person reflect to see what it is you got to get over yourself. So it's you who's fighting yourself. It's you who's been in your own nightmare, right? You're creating the nightmare, right? Take responsibility for that. And if you've owned that you're the one creating it, then you're going to start seeing that you have a solution, right? Because you've tapped into the higher frequencies. You're willing to look at the bigger picture and call in for more information, right? Ions formed in a different way than you've been forming them. So the movement going forward is about maintaining and having control over your own thoughts, emotions, and actions, right? Taking responsibility for those, right? Because what's coming is movement, big movement, right? Now, we're going to have some minor movement first, but it's all leading to a big movement, right? We still have time to straighten our path, if you will. Deal with our stuff, our own personal stuff. There's some more learning to be done, but when it comes to you, you already know everything you need to know, right? We don't need to think or prepare anymore. We already have everything we need. You just have to stop preparing and open up and say, okay, I'm ready, let's go. Right? You can debate all day long or make excuses of why you're not ready to move forward, right? Because things in the past have happened before, right? And it just led to a dead end or death or seeing something that we liked leave, right? Or you yourself had to leave because it was no longer conducive to your electrical energy or your heart. So we're moving forward here, right? And this is about you finally looking at yourself and taking a deep look at yourself. Right? And are you ready to go into the world and serve your mission? If you're not, you still need to do some more studying, right? But don't make sure that the studying is do we need to learn a new computer program? Do you have to learn a new social media program in order to transmit your stuff? Sure, learn that stuff. But internally, esoterically, you don't need to learn because there's nothing to learn. Right? Because you can't fail at anything. It's just accepting who you are, opening your heart, and saying, oh, there's something bigger than me. And that's what this message is, guys, that these beings are out here and they're bigger than us. Doesn't mean they're always wiser, it just means that they've been around a lot longer. They go through their ups and downs. And so they're willing to share with us to help your path to be a lot cleaner, a lot more clear. Right? But it's still up to you to take that responsibility. Right? Now we're going to get into this a little further in a little more detail. Especially for Libra, we're going into Libra season, or we're in Libra season now, and we got Scorpio coming up, and then Sagittarians coming up. So join me on the extended, and I'll have a link below. Hopefully I'll have that link up by the time I get this video out. If it doesn't, that's okay. I'm still working some bugs out on stuff and learning stuff myself. So the message that they want us to understand right now is things are starting to move forward, right? You may feel a little hesitation because of past stuff, but don't. It's opening up. The windows are opening up. The door may have shut, but the window's opening up. And so get ready to start making those beginning moves. If you feel that some move's about to happen, then pack up, get rid of some stuff. Right? Don't wait till the very last second to pack and call Goodwill or whoever to come pick your stuff up. Go ahead and start packing, clearing the passageway. So when the move does call your name, right, once more, then you're able to go and pick up and go instantly, right? And not have any more battles left, little small battles, right? That'll be about do it today, guys. I appreciate you watching, and if you want to watch the extended version of this, go ahead and click the link below, and I'll see you then.